Not
Let's
Ruben. Anyhow, anyway, let me try.
sure.
Okay, so
Okay.
when I look at the graph, and if I have to go and look at the trends here, the highest
Mm-hmm.
trend I have is in the sector of agriculture. Agriculture had the highest usage, the highest consumption usage. Sorry, agriculture used most of the water, followed by industrial use, and then
Most of the
domestic
water?
use. Uh,
Most of the
the
water?
highest consumption went into the agriculture sector.
Okay. That's more accurate to say. Followed by?
Okay.
Yes. Then followed by the industrial sector, and
Mm-hmm.
lastly was domestic sector.
How many
Okay.
years do we see here? 1900. Always look at beginning and ending. So how many years are we talking about in a span of
In a span
1900
of
to 2000? How many years is that?
100, isn't
Se-
it a century?
7.
A century. Okay. So when you analyze,
Yes. Okay. Okay.
think of these things already, take note of them.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
Fine.
so at the beginning, what do we see in 1900?
Um, what's this? In that agriculture had a higher rate of
Mm-hmm.
about 500. What's this? What are these units?
Okay, no details
Kilo.
first. No
No
details
detail.
first.
Um,
Just
Miss
the
Anna,
Oh,
overview.
in
the overview. I
okay.
think I would say that
Mm-hmm.
overview. In the overview, it can be seen that overall, it can be seen that um, agriculture maintained its peak throughout the period, and it recorded the highest in the global water use.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So you can see, well, at the beginning, you may mention that. Uh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. But you see this point here? You see my
Mm-hmm.
cursor? What does that mean?
Yes. Both the industrial sector and the domestic sector started off at the almost the same point.
Or they're actually the same. When two
Mm-hmm.
lines meet, that means they have exactly the same amount during that
Mm-hmm.
a particular point in time. Okay. But at the end of the century or after a century, obviously, highest is agriculture, followed by industrial, and then domestic. So those are actually the a few important things that you need to mention. That's first of all, it's in a span of a century. Okay, time, and then what? Okay, you've also mentioned the what, like what are they? Agricultural, industrial use, domestic for domestic use. Okay, the use of agriculture at the beginning of the century and at the end. Agriculture, industrial, and domestic. All right, let's take a look at the table. Anyone would like to say something for the overview based on the table? So you have your pool. Which one has the bigger population? Brazil or
Brazil.
Congo?
Brazil.
Brazil.
Brazil. Okay, a lot bigger, right? Not just bigger, but it's a lot bigger. How many times bigger?
Mm.
So we're analyzing, right? Just like with what we did with tables and charts and graphs, we analyze first before we start writing our overview. Because
Mm-hmm.
you will never be able to write a main trend unless you understand what's going on with in the picture, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how many times bigger is Brazil than Congo? Or how can we express that? 5.2 million is just what of 176 million? Can you
It's
think of
just
words?
one fifth.
Are you sure? You have to calculate that. Or what's a word, an adjective to describe 5.2 as compared to 176 million? Ella has joined us. Very good.
That would be wayward. 100 will go into 5.6 will go into 176, like more than necessary. So we have to come to a figure that it can go in.
Okay, let's take a look at. So I need you to think of something to describe, to compare 5.2 million as compared to 176 million. Is it a chunk of the population? Is it a minute portion of the population as compared to Brazil's? Or Brazil's is how many times bigger than? So you have to think of things like that. Okay, in order
Okay.
for you to be able to plan your vocabulary, the
Mm-hmm.
exact words. So in the process, you are already thinking of precise words, exact words that you'd like to use in your essay later on. Okay? I'm actually
Okay.
thinking of the word minute.
Yes,
5.2
minute.
million is only a small, well, a minute percentage of 176 million. Or I can say the population of DRC is only a minute percentage of that of Brazil. So you see,
Okay.
without mentioning the numbers, I was able to
Okay.
compare them because that is what IELTS wants. So I'm going to make
Oh,
sure that later when I write, I'm going to include that observation in my writing. So take down notes. So now I'm going to look
okay.
at irrigated land. So these are expressed in kilometers squared. Irrigated land, which means when we say irrigated land, what is that for? Is it for industrial use, economic
Agriculture.
use, agriculture?
Agriculture.
Okay,
It's
so
agriculture.
that's right. So as compared to the Brazil, DRC's irrigated land is similar. Is well, they're directly proportionate to the population, right?
Mm,
Okay, they're
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
proportional to each other, as well as with water consumption per person. So each person, so take note, I encircle per and write here somewhere each, okay, because I want to use that in my task later. So each person consumes, instead of me using the noun consumption, I'm going to use consumes later on. Okay, so each person consumes uh, in DRC only 8 meters cubed, while in Brazil, each person consumes 359. So, what can you say about? So this is average, right? Okay, we always think of average when we think about total consumption versus what does an average person drink when it comes to water. Okay, so these are the numbers for that. So, what can you say about overall, for the overview, what can we say about this? How can we compare Brazil to DRC in terms of population, irrigated land, and water consumption per person? Anyone? So earlier I mentioned the word directly proportionate. Okay. I
Mhm.
what else? What else can we mention? So the bigger the population, the what?
Therefore,
Yeah, I think so. Because we compare the population and we are saying minute. I think
Mm-hmm.
the minute runs through. Yeah, because the area land covered, the 100 kilometer it's way behind that of Brazil, and water consumption per person too is way behind that of Brazil. So I think this same minute will cover it. Anna, are you calling me again?
No, no, it was
Yes.
Frank. It
Oh,
was
okay.
Frank.
Okay. So we should cut the line.
No, it will ring and stop. So I think we should leave it like that.
So I'm
It
calling
was
him.
Frank, I think.
I'm
Who
calling him.
called? Okay, so anybody else would like to add something for, but in the actual test, you have to be as quick as possible with your analysis, okay? Now, everybody, write your overview sentences. So one for each picture.
Can the
Crisante,
person
are you
mute?
here?
Mute.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I just hear a strange noise in the background. So put your
It's nothing.
microphones on mute, please. Yes, questions?
We were at how best we can try to factor in the figure for population and no, the figure for uh, irrigated land and water consumption. But I was saying that you use minute number or you use minute to compare the population for Brazil and DRC. So I think something like that can go in for irrigated land, and something like that can go in for water consumption per person too. Because you could, analyzing it, you can see that um, all the figures are way behind that of Brazil. That was what I was saying. So in land surface is less as seen in DRC, and per head usage is also less as seen in water consumption. So that was what I was saying.
Remember, this is the, well, some of the things we discussed should be mentioned in the body, okay? If you remember, before, remember the file or the picture I showed you for time management. Before you start writing your overview, you need to analyze first. And that's what we did. We analyzed the pictures first. They're not very hard to analyze because later on, when you organize them into a paragraph or paragraphs, you would spend one paragraph for the first picture and then another paragraph for the second picture, as simple as that. And all the things that we noticed, okay, at the beginning of the century, 1900 at the end. Okay, what have we noticed? We also need to mention the units. What are the sectors? What is the line graph about? And then what have we observed between the two countries, Brazil and DRC, in terms of population, farmlands, and water consumption on average per person? So those are the things that we will place in the body. If you feel that minute is not appropriate to be used in the introduction, then don't use it. But make sure to use that in the body because you need to show a variety of vocabulary. That is the main purpose of IELTS. Never forget why you are writing, what the examiner wants to see from your writing. Okay?
Oh,
The analysis
okay.
part, the accuracy, simply targets task achievement. How accurate is your analysis? Okay, after analyzing, how how well have you transferred your thoughts onto paper? That's task achievement, that's TA, and that's only 25%. The rest goes to CC, LR, and GRA. That's grammar, coherence and cohesion, and lexical resource. Okay? So do not
Okay.
complicate things. Don't overcomplicate things. But what I need
Miss
you to
Anna,
do is to be accurate, complete and accurate with your paraphrase and overview at this point. Yes, Ansia.
okay, I would like to read my overview, then you analyze for me.
Okay.
Okay, the line graph given depicts information about the use of water in the whole world, whilst the table illustrates the population of Brazil and Democratic Republic of Congo. No, no.
Okay. I can't
How they consume water, the consumption of water in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Brazil. Or should
can
I
you
go again?
can you please type your I'm sorry, I can't
Okay,
remember
okay, okay,
everything. I'd rather
okay, okay,
see. Please, yes.
okay. Then let me type. Let me type.
Thank you.
Okay. So can we all type our overview? Can we start type
Yes,
trying
please.
to okay.
So just the overviews.
Ah, task one, I hate it.
Don't hate it. You have to love it. Because if you
Oh,
don't
help
love
me
it,
love it. I want to
remember task one should be easy. Do not
yeah.
do not overthink. Just describe what you see, okay?
Okay.
Let's put our mics off. Let's put our mics off, please. Our mics off. As we are typing, let's put our mics off, please.
So the best essay goes to my blog, okay? For the best essays. Okay. This is good, Ruben. Please read your overview. Ruben?
Hello, Miss Anna. Please
Hi,
come again.
Ruben. Yes, please read your
Yeah.
overview.
Okay. Um. Overall, it is noticeable that the water usage is more in the agricultural sector than the industrial and the domestic. By contrast, Brazil holds the majority water consumption in terms of population, land surface, and per head consumption.
Noticeable that the water usage is more. Okay. Can you also mention the timeline? Or what's a better word? Because you're comparing three sectors, right? So what's a better word than more?
Okay.
What's a better word?
Um. Okay. Maybe the highest, or yeah,
Highest,
maybe the
right.
highest.
This is superlative adjective. Okay, highest for agriculture, okay, as compared to industrial and the domestic sectors. Okay,
Domestic.
I want
Yeah.
to. Did you mention the timeline earlier in your paraphrase? Did you mention two,
Yes. Yes, I mentioned it in my
100
paraphrase.
years?
That is nineteen
Okay.
hundred to 2000. Yeah.
I would also suggest you mention that you emphasize that agriculture
Okay.
was highest, not at the
Okay.
beginning and at the end or for the entire 100 years, just to emphasize
Okay.
the trend. Okay. By
Okay.
contrast, Brazil holds the majority water consumption. Okay, very good, Ruben. That's all. Can you please edit so that yeah, please edit your work.
I'll, okay, so that I can add the period in it.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So can I say maybe can I just make it simply over the 100-year period,
It
something
is
like that?
noticeable. Yes. Overall,
Okay.
for the entire century, it is noticeable that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Water usage is
All right.
highest for. Okay.
Okay.
You know how to edit, right? Just long press and then the edit will come out.
Edit. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Let's take a look at
Uh,
Mercy's. Mercy, please read your overview.
Okay.
okay.
Ov- Overall, the global water consumption rose significantly over the century. Agriculture accounted for the highest percentage use. It is also clear that the water consumption in Brazil was way higher than in Congo.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of irrigated land and water consumption per person, Brazil had significantly higher proportions than DR Congo throughout the present period.
Okay. I like this because he emphasized on the movement of consumption, the movement of the trend. He said rose significantly. So that's a very important expression there. And then you also mentioned over the century. And agriculture accounted for the highest. Okay, this is perfect. And then a second sentence is also clear that water consumption in Brazil was way higher. Okay, Mercy, this is a band 8 overall overview.
Wow, first
Well
time.
done. Well done. You
Great,
see, it's
great, great,
jam
great, great.
packed with information. I can see the movement. You see, even if I close my eyes, I can picture
Mhm.
it in my mind, right? I can picture
Wow.
that, it rose significantly. So if I were to draw a line graph that says rose significantly, will I be able to
Mhm.
do that?
Mm.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Mm.
While if you close your eyes and you simply said that agriculture is highest, will I be able to
Mhm.
draw a line graph like in the task?
No.
No. You see, that's the goal of this exercise. You have to make me picture what you see. It's like picture. You know that game, pictograph, wherein you try to
Yeah.
describe and then your partner draws something and then the picture that comes closest wins. So it's something like that.
Mhm.
You have to make your audience picture in his mind what you're trying to
Mhm.
describe. Okay, very good, very good. Let's take a look at
Okay.
Encia's. Encia, please read. But sometimes this is just my comment. Sometimes to be as deep as you don't need to write overviews like because there, as I've told you, there are many ways that the candidate can get a good score. So your
Mhm.
overview might be brief, but then in the body you'll be writing much much more. So that's another way
Mhm.
to do it. But in your case, I want to be sure. I want to be
Okay.
sure that we don't leave out
Mhm.
task achievement. Okay? That's what I'm trying to do because what if you fail in, let's say, grammar, because your grammar, well, it has a lot of minor errors in such a way that you won't get a 7 in GRA, maybe just a 6 or a 5, so that's not good. So what could pull your grade up is task achievement. And of course, when you use the proper words, you also pull your band score in lexical resource as well as coherence and cohesion. So in effect, you get a very good score. Okay?
Okay.
I hope you
Okay.
understand how you are marked in task one. Okay, let's go to NCS work.
Hello, Miss Anna.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I start when they were writing about, they were paraphrasing the introduction. I wasn't there, so I added mine to the overall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The line graph depicts information about the use of water in the whole world, whilst the table illustrates the population of Brazil and Democratic Republic of Congo and how they consume water. Units are measured in kilometer cube. Overall, it can be seen that the global water use. Ruben, I can hear you. Ruben, can
Yeah, I
you
can hear you.
off your mic?